Well, good morning to all of our millions of viewers. My name is John Jurisic. I'm the producer of a Facebook page called Langford, the Island Sport Capital. In this podcast, we chat all things about the rather extraordinary Langford-based recreation facilities and business of sport development within the city over the many years. And so today, we're going to chat with Michelle Mahovlich, Langford's Director of Engineering and Public Works, about the city's amazing residential bike network and environment. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning, John. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. Okay, clearly I'm not the thinnest guy on the planet, but I do ride my bike a lot, and I'm not one of these 50-mile guys. I go for about half an hour. And frankly, I think it's kept me alive. And I've really enjoyed the bike networks around Lower Vancouver Island. And and I do know that Langford's got an extensive residential bike network and has for many years, to everyone's likely surprise, long before Victoria implemented some of their infrastructure. Michelle, can you tell me a little bit about kind of where that impetus came? Like, what prompted what is clearly a very climate change friendly policy into the city of Langford and into your building and planning?
I think it was back about 2010, 2011. We were revisiting some of our bylaws that call up our road cross sections, and really pretty much common sense to add bike lanes to the major road networks and make sure everything is connecting. So definitely on our collector roads, we call up bike lanes all the time. And then usually on our major roads, we do as well. So you can see that pretty obviously on Bray Mountain Parkway, Langford Parkway, West Shore Parkway. Those are our major ones. And then everything kind of in between so that we have some connectivity. And sometimes we just make sure that the road bike lanes connect to an off-road path, like the Galloping Goose Trail.
I've ridden that. The Galloping Goose sort of up around Atkins. It comes on a Whale. It's a beautiful pathway. And then, you can go right from there. So ostensibly, you can go all through Langford right into town, into Victoria downtown, if you want to. Who would want to these days? That's my personal opinion. And not hit a road, almost.
Yeah, no, that's correct. And almost every year, I think during COVID, there was one year that this particular grant wasn't offered, but we've been applying to, it used to be called the Bike BC grants every year for bike lanes and have been pretty successful in getting those grants. And we use those to fill in the spaces that there were no bike lanes. So your Galloping Goose Trail along Atkins Avenue is a great example. We applied for a grant to connect one point where the Galloping Goose didn't exist, basically, and we brought the trail out onto Atkins Avenue, connected two parts of that trail. It's right by Savory Elementary School. Great trail to get downtown if you need to, or to Thetis Lake if you're going there.
You're right.
But so quite often we are very successful in these grants, and the grants are 100% covered. So they give us, say, 50 to 75% on the grant, and we use our gas tax money to offset the rest. So it's no cost to the residents.
Well, you're very forward thinking. I mean, there's some politicians within the region who tend to think that Langford's all about getting cars and moving cars around, and to some extent, that's a necessity that has to happen. But at the same time, you're also forward thinking and a leader within this bike network and infrastructure that's been built. What has been a couple of things that I'd like to know that I don't think not many people know, is really sort of just the information, or how many miles. And is there any, and also any feedback? Do you hear anything from the residents about, oh, that was a cool thing, or something like that?
Well, we deal in kilometers because we're in Canada.
Right, of course.
So
Tells
it's
my age. Shows my
yeah,
age.
exactly. There you go. We have 66 lane kilometers of bike lanes on our major roads, and about 8 kilometers of multi-use paths that have so where you allow cycling, strollers, scooters, pedestrians. We did a really big grant project on Humpback Road about 2 years ago that was just over $1 million in infrastructure work, 100% paid for by the grant. And it has this really great multi-use trail. It connects Goldstream Provincial Park all the way to our Irwin Park, the Geordie Land Bike Park, which is super fun. Yeah. And then it leads you basically into the West Hills Core and Dale Langford Parkway. So that's another fun example where we've done a protected multi-use path. And right now, we are actually proactively looking at all of our networks in the Latoya Road area because there's a new elementary school that will open down there in the fall of 2024 is what they're predicting right now. But we're trying to proactively get our infrastructure in there ahead of that school opening and to also help with their construction. So we have, for instance, a signal light going in on Happy Valley and Latoya right now that'll open in the next couple months, or a couple weeks, sorry. And we will proactively be putting another signal light with proper crossings for bikes and pedestrians probably next year on Latoya
That
at
is
Klahani.
fantastic. I mean, I have some history with Langford, although growing up in Mount Doug, my wife went to Belmont and is a Langford girl, and so I certainly have some historical context from where we were and where we are, and I'm just really thrilled to see accommodation to this kind of alternative transportation. Congratulations. Is there any way, and I think the answer is no, but I'm going to ask Director of Engineering, is there a way to measure how many people use this? Do you have like these little...
Actually, the Capital Regional District does bike counts annually, and so they're the ones who keep that data and who do the counts for us. And that all ties into the Bike to Work Week that they do. They sponsor annually, and we are active participants in that. So we use those bike counts actually to tell us where we need to do other infrastructure for bike improvements. So we definitely work hand in hand with the region on that and make sure that we have that connectivity. But they're very helpful for their bike lane counts because we use those to apply for the grants.
Okay. Well, then that leads to my final question. That being, you mentioned that there's obviously some work around Latoya, an area of the community that's really just exploding. How about other regions? Are there any other kind of more general statements you might make around the future for some of the bike infrastructure to grow?
In Langford, I think we're just going to keep marching along and
Yes.
putting them in where they're missing, which, to be frank, is not a lot of spots right now. So we've been pretty good at filling in the gaps and making sure the major routes are good. And, there's different types of cyclists out there. There's the ones who are on their road bikes and are quite confident going through traffic and cycling with traffic and even climbing the likes of Bear Mountain Parkway. I see a lot of bikes climbing that road bikes, and I think it's great. I think my legs would crop out probably halfway up, but yeah, I can't believe how many people use that. But we also make sure that we're accommodating for people who might be a little less confident, I guess, cycling on the road and
Yes.
provide areas around roundabouts, for instance, where they have a choice. You can either stay in the roundabout or you can get off, use the concrete sidewalk that we have widened around the roundabout so that you can get around that roundabout if you're not as confident of a rider to stay with the traffic.
Yeah.
So
I
we do try and accommodate everyone.
can't tell you how important that is, Michelle, as a biker guy. I'm one of those guys that would look at the hill and go, no, get my e-bike out,
Yeah.
But I don't go on roads. It's not because I'm not a good biker and not that I'm not confident. I don't trust vehicles. There are drivers who choose not to see you. Clearly, we've had some issues in downtown Victoria of cars and trucks going right on a red light, and there's a go lane for the bikes, and they've been hit. And yesterday I went for a ride, and in fact, I always look left when I'm crossing intersection, and sure enough, somebody did turn on a red light, and had I not looked, I would have been hit. So, the small things about putting on a roundabout a way for a bike to get around are brilliant, are just brilliant. Michelle, I'm going to chat with some other folks within your staff about the sport biking scene in Langford and Bear Mountain, and so I really appreciate you giving me this outline of an amazing bike infrastructure in Lower Vancouver Island, if not the island. And congratulations for your vision and leadership on this.
Thank you, and thanks for having us up today.
Yeah, and soon, let's say I'll get an update from you. Maybe I'll look a little bit thinner. Who knows?
There you go. Maybe I'll see you going up Bear Mountain Parkway.
Yeah. Okay. Have a great day.
All right. You too. Bye.
A really fascinating part of the extraordinary bicycle network development in Langford has been the sports side of things. I just chatted with Michelle around the residential piece, which is fascinating, but there's another amazing sports side of cycling and biking that has happened in Langford. Dean, tell us about what's happened around that area, and also where are we going? What have we got to look forward to?
Yeah, well, there's been some really exciting things happening for mountain biking, trick biking, BMX in Langford. So last year, in spring 2021, we opened the Geordie Lund Bike Park out in the West Hills area of Langford, and it has a ton of great features for any kids. Anybody can use, adults, free to use. There is a asphalt pump track, which is similar to a BMX track. You pump through the rollers and you keep your speed. There's dirt jumps. There is a skills area where riders can learn how to learn new skills that they would use out on the mountain bike trails. And then there's this year we opened in the spring an expansion with a large area, 75 acres of mountain biking trails.
Wow.
So we've really been pushing mountain biking and progressing it for the Victoria region.
Yeah. Okay. So it's available for the public. I wasn't aware of that. I thought it might have been a park thing or a club thing. So, but the Geordie Lund Park's available for the public to use.
Yep, absolutely. It's
Okay.
open dawn to dusk every day. No fees to go use it. Anyone can go use these. Meet up with some friends, go for rides, and then the park also hosts a lot of different events, and so
Oh,
those you'd
yes.
have to register for these special events. But
Okay.
day-to-day use, it's
Tell us
absolutely.
some of the events that have happened there already, or is that the case?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've had some great events, and the very first event that the new mountain bike trails hosted was the BC High School Sports League Mountain Bike Championship, um, which was
Who knew
great.
that existed?
Yeah, we had schools from all over BC come and compete. They had their own mountain bike teams that the students are riding in. Usually there's a teacher sponsor for their different clubs. So we had schools from Salmon Arm, schools from Pemberton, all over, and they raced two different kinds of races. There was a cross country race, and there was an enduro race, a couple of different disciplines that were used on the trails.
I know Bear Mountain is and the facilities around there, I think, host some very advanced mountain bike activities. Is there a national team sort of centered out there, or was that in the past?
They were the national team headquarters for mountain biking, and I'm not sure if they still are
Still.
or if that's changed. I don't know.
Okay, okay, thank you. But there are quite a few trails out there, and is that something you guys develop, at least the Langford portion of that?
Yes, they do have some great trails up at Bear Mountain too. Primarily the trails that they have up there are on private Bear Mountain
Oh,
property.
oh,
Eco Oasis is the development company, so they
okay.
have their own private trails. They're great trails, but those aren't Langford managed trails.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is in the future? Potentially, what can we be excited to watch? Any big tournaments, perhaps, and any future plans for the sport biking activities in Langford?
Yeah. Well, what we opened initially this spring with a new expansion is going to continue. We're building more mountain bike trails.
Mm.
There's two that are still currently under construction right now. We've got a new larger flow trail that's starting from the mountain, the peak of the gravity zone. So that's going to be great once that opens this
Yeah.
sometime this winter. And there's another trail that's being built, which is a really cool project because it's actually a volunteer driven project where there's some keen mountain bike enthusiasts that are building a trail all on volunteer time under some city oversight, but it's a community trail that's being built. So we've got 2 more trails that are coming either by the end of the year or thereabouts this winter.
Wow, amazing. Any future tournaments that we can get excited about?
Yeah. So this year we hosted, in addition to the high school championships I told you about, we had Langford Bike Fest, which was over the Canada Day long weekend. And so we're definitely going to host that again this next year. That'll be an ongoing annual event. And that event will have a lot of different events within it, different mountain bike events, pump track races, dirt jump jams, and kind of an expo area too.
Dean, this is so exciting. Okay, what you guys in Langford have done around residential biking and now sport biking, Geordie Lund Park, extraordinary. And I want to congratulate you and cannot wait to see what's gonna all these events and hopefully we're going to be able to let a few people in the region know what's going on and they're going to get excited about this too. And maybe you and I can chat in the new year and just get updated as to where we're at. Thank you so much for your time, Dean.
You're welcome. Thanks for interviewing me, John.
Absolutely.